Discover the incredible moment when a CEO's mute daughter, 7, unexpectedly found her voice at the town hall meeting. Charlie Harper could smell success from miles away. At 42, he was the face of a booming tech company nestled in the heart of their quiet suburban neighborhood. The smell of grass clippings and sizzling burgers from backyard BBQs wafted through the air, yet Charlie was always in his office, planning the next big innovation. He wore ambition like a suit, a tailored fit he'd never change out of. But in the background, beneath the humdrum of daily life, was his daughter, Emma, just 7 years old, muted in a world full of noise. Born unable to speak, she floated like a ghost in the bustling life of her father's success, often overlooked like that forgotten shadow in your rearview mirror. The neighborhood was facing tough times. The local bakery, a gem known for its warm cookies and friendly faces, was on the brink of closure. Conversations erupted at the community center, the buzz of concern echoing off the walls. While neighbors rallied, Charlie immersed himself deeper into work, unaware of the little girl waiting for his attention, hoping for her father's acknowledgement during the sorrowful murmurs that pervaded their tight-knit community. On the day of the pivotal town hall meeting, an urgent air clung to everyone. As he arrived, with hopes of offering corporate support, Charlie noticed the tense faces of residents, and in that sea of anxiety, he spotted Emma. She was crouched beneath a table, her little fingers fidgeting with a device, a handheld communication tool he had long dismissed. There, she sat, relatively invisible but very much aware, absorbing the conversation surrounding her like a sponge. Her big, doe-like eyes sparkled with comprehension, yet her heart echoed with the silence that defined her existence. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Suddenly, everything stopped. With a newfound resolve, Emma pushed herself up from the shadows. She stepped out from beneath the table, her communication device clutched tightly in her little hands. As she activated it, her voice rang out, clear and pure, silencing the crowd in the small room. "Please help the bakery," she cried, her words echoing off the walls. Gasps filled the air, mixed with applause and murmurs of surprise. She voiced a wish that struck at the very heart of her father's world, that she wanted to be heard, to belong. Charlie's heart raced. There she was, the daughter he overlooked, stepping boldly into the light. As the crowd erupted, he felt torn between the applause of a community that embraced his daughter and the corporate ambitions that pulsed in his veins. Would he let this moment of clarity slip away for the sake of his career? The stakes were high, and as he watched Emma, transformed and radiant, he questioned everything he thought mattered. As the meeting ended, unresolved promises hung heavy in the air. The bakery's fate dangled precariously, and Charlie felt the pull of two worlds, one of ambition and one of family, where true success might just lie. Emma's newfound voice brought light to his darkness. Could he really embrace this moment and not sacrifice the one connection that mattered most? A question lingered, leaving an anxious heartbeat beneath the surface as the next chapter of their lives loomed like a storm on the horizon. The room buzzed with excitement after Emma's declaration. Friends, neighbors, and even strangers exchanged glances, electric with shared emotion. Charlie's heart thudded, feeling the weight of his daughter's courage pull him in a direction he never expected. He could hear the whispers, the genuine admiration for Emma's bravery. But beneath the surface, doubt gnawed at him like a persistent shadow. "Charlie," a voice broke through, yanking him from his thoughts. It was Linda, the town's mayor, her face flushed with enthusiasm. "That was incredible. Your daughter has such a gift. We need to make this happen." He nodded absently, his gaze drawn back to Emma, who stood in a small circle of her peers. Their faces lit up with pride, and for the first time, he could see the light in her eyes. It was as if she had opened a door in a world he thought he understood, revealing promises he had overlooked. "Emma!" Charlie called, taking a few steps toward her. She turned, her expression a mixture of surprise and delight. The cheers and claps faded away, and in that quiet moment, their eyes locked. There was an unspoken question swirling between them. Would he really see her now? "I've been trying so hard," she said, her fingers dancing over the device. "I want to help." "I know, sweetheart," he replied, kneeling down to her level. Every backward glance at his ambition felt heavier. "We can help the bakery together." The suggestion hit her like a wave, her smile brightening the room. But as the applause started again, Charlie's mind raced. Just moments ago, he was consumed with business strategies and market shares. Now, he was standing before a girl who wanted to change the world not with fancy software, but with love and community spirit. While Emma engaged with her new friends, brainstorming ideas about the bakery, Charlie felt a rush of warmth. Maybe he was ready to embrace this new path, a path that put family first. But there was still the company to think about. He had investors counting on him. What would his next big move mean for Emma's newfound confidence? Pushing those thoughts aside, he joined the group, his mind slowly shifting from profit margins to potential. "What do you think we could do?" he asked, genuinely curious. "We could put up signs," Emma said, her device spitting out bright ideas, each less grandiose than his usual pitches but much more heartfelt. "And hold bake sales. People will come for cookies, and we can tell them why we love our bakery." Each suggestion brought a wider smile to her face, a new layer of hope enriching her spirit. Charlie felt a lump in his throat. Here was the clarity he needed. Maybe he didn't have to choose between worlds, maybe they could blend. After the meeting, he stayed back. The room emptied slowly. The echo of his daughter's voice filled the silence with the promise of community. Deep in reflection, he pondered how often he chose ambition over connection. When he finally left that hall, he found Emma deep in conversation, her friends gathered around her, all aiming to lift their favorite bakery out of the shadows. Each word from her mouth was a testament to her strength, and Charlie realized something had shifted in him too. "Can we do this?" he asked Linda, his voice steady now. "Can we commit to helping?" Her beaming smile lit up the room one more time. "You bet. We'll organize a meeting and spread the word. This town stands behind our bakery." The relief that filled Charlie was substantial, but as he turned to watch Emma, a sudden thought washed over him. What would happen when the echoes of this moment faded? When the applause turned to silence, would he be able to keep his promise to her? Just then, Emma's laughter rang out, pulling him back to the present. She was speaking to one of her friends, her energy electrifying. In that instant, he knew he would risk everything to support her voice. As the sun dipped low, casting a golden glow around them, Charlie found himself at a crossroads. Would he let his corporate ambitions dim the light of his daughter's voice? And just as he was about to answer, a loud crash came from the bakery's direction, piercing the moment with uncertainty. Charlie turned, a knot forming in his stomach. What now? Was the bakery's fate already in jeopardy again? Charlie dashed toward the bakery, confusion and worry tightening his chest. The sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows behind him as he pushed through the door. Inside, the warm, sweet air hung heavy, yet something felt off. The bustling atmosphere from before had been transformed into an unsettling hush. His heart raced when he spotted Emma standing frozen, her friends stepping back from a toppled display. Flour and sugar scattered across the floor glimmered like fallen stars, a comical scene under the dire circumstances. One of the older kids, a boy named Leo, held a half-shot camera, the lens pointing at the chaos. What happened? Charlie asked, kneeling to Emma's level, concern etched on his face. I don't know, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. Her fingers found the edges of her device, searching for the words. We were just trying to get everything set up for the bake sale. Around them, the kids exchanged glances, their excitement seemingly deflated but not extinguished. Charlie's gaze softened as he realized this was more than a simple accident. Emma's bubble of confidence had been pierced. His heart ached for her. "Let us clean this up together," he said, straightening up. "We can turn it into something special. Accidents happen. Sometimes, that's how we grow." Emma's eyes flickered with uncertainty. Her friends nodded, and one of them giggled, "Let us make it a twinkling disaster." The laughter spread like a wave, washing over the tension. The kids jumped into action while Charlie grabbed a broom. His fingers brushed against Emma's as she handed him a dustpan, their eyes meeting briefly. In that moment, she smiled, a small but radiant spark igniting her spirit again. "Do you want me to help with your speech?" he asked, hoping to guide her through the next hurdle. Her breath caught, and she shook her head. "No. I want to do it myself like I did before." Her determination flickered in her eyes, reminding him of the strength he saw moments ago. "Okay, then. Just remember, there's no pressure. You can take your time. Everyone is rooting for you." Emma nodded, re-anchoring herself to her friends who were now creating a clean-up dance to turn the task into fun. As they laughed and picked up the mess, Charlie felt a swell of pride. Maybe, just maybe, they could turn this chaos into a memory they would cherish. As the last bit of flour was swept away, Emma stood at the center of her friends. Clutching her device tightly, she took a deep breath. Charlie watched, every muscle in him tensed with anticipation. The sun now hung low, casting an amber glow through the bakery window. "Okay, everyone." Emma began, her voice stronger than he anticipated. The kids turned towards her, eyes bright. Charlie took a step back, leaning against the counter. He felt a wave of emotion wash over him. This was her moment, a moment burgeoning with potential and love, but just as Emma found her rhythm, a loud commotion outside interrupted. Charlie turned sharply. A group of teenagers stood outside, huddled around an old, battered car. Laughter turned to jeers, and the tension in the bakery snapped. "Don't let them ruin this moment," he whispered to himself, knowing he had to protect Emma and her dreams. "But how?" "Emma," he said urgently, trying to focus on her. "Do you want to continue?" She looked at him, determination swirling in her gaze. "Yes, but what if they don't listen?" His heart sank. Would the teen's disruptive energy shatter the newfound confidence Emma built? In that moment, Charlie realized more was at stake than he originally thought. As Emma opened her mouth to speak again, Charlie felt the pressure mounting. Could they really rise above the noise and distractions? Outside, the jeering grew louder, and he could feel the ground shifting beneath them. The air thickened with uncertainty, causing Charlie to feel the weight of every decision he had ever made. Would he be able to protect her voice? Would this bakery, and everything Emma stood for, flourish despite the storm? "Stay strong, Em," he breathed, as anticipation hung like a delicate thread in the air. And at that moment, as all eyes turned toward Emma, a familiar voice emerged from the crowd outside. "Hey! What's with all the fuss?" Charlie's heart raced. Who was it? The voice clamored with familiarity, captivating yet ominous. What would happen next? The bake sale. A figure emerged from the crowd, stepping into view. It was Mia, an older girl from school who had become a sort of local legend for her bravado. Tall and confident, she had a commanding presence that often overshadowed others. Her laughter was infectious, but now it felt like an intrusion, slicing through the fragile atmosphere Emma had built. Charlie watched as Emma's expression shifted. Uncertainty fell over her like a thick fog. He swallowed hard. "This isn't a joke, Mia. This matters," he muttered under his breath. He wanted to shield Emma from her, to keep her spirit intact. Mia strolled closer, unimpressed by the flurry of flowers still dusting the floor. "What's the big deal? All this fuss over cookies?" Her laughter echoed across the bakery, causing a few kids to giggle nervously. Emma clutched her device, fingers trembling slightly. "I want to talk about our bake sale," she said, her voice softer, yet unyielding. Mia tilted her head, raising an eyebrow as her friends clustered behind her. "You know what? I'd love to see you try. But let's be honest, no one is gonna pay attention to a tiny kid like you." Charlie's stomach knotted. The casual mockery was like a lead weight, pulling Emma back down just as she was beginning to rise. He stepped forward. "That's not fair, Mia. Emma has just as much right as anyone to speak here." The older girl shrugged, amused. "What? You think cactus thorns and puppy eyes can win over this crowd?" Charlie felt the heat rising in his cheeks, his pulse quickening. But he remembered Emma's light, the confidence that had ignited before. He took a deep breath, turning to her, locking eyes with her steady gaze. "You don't need to prove anything to her. You have your friends here, and they believe in you." The room was a swirling blend of uncertainty and hope. The laughter from outside lingered, but Charlie chose to focus on the warmth radiating from Emma. Swallowing hard, he took another step back, giving her space. Emma lifted her chin. "I don't need to be big to have a voice," she declared, louder now. "We baked these cookies to help the community. They're special." The room quieted, even the adults behind the counter paused, glancing toward Emma. For a moment, Charlie thought he could see the flicker of doubt in Mia's eyes. Had she underestimated Emma's spark? "See," he whispered, his heart swelling with pride. "You're doing it. Just keep going." Emma's confidence began to swell, fueled by the flickers of support around her. "They're not just cookies. They're made with love, with our dreams. We worked hard, and everyone here deserves to hear about it." The bakery reverberated with the echoes of her words, the message floating in the air. The outside ruckus faded into mere background noise. Suddenly, there was a shift. Mia took a step back, blinking. Her facade cracked slightly, as if Emma's determination was contagious, creating cracks in her confidence. Okay, Mia said, her bravado faltering. "Let us hear what you have to say." One of Emma's friends squeezed her hand reassuringly. With a steadfast breath, Emma straightened, a resolve filling her. "Thank you, Mia," she said, her voice steady. "Let me tell you why this matters." And as she began to speak, Charlie felt as if a wave was rising, unfurling before them. His heart raced, a sweet mix of fear and pride pulsing through him. Suddenly, amid the silence, the crowd's murmurs rose, creeping back to the surface as a new voice broke through the din. "Let us see what you've got, little girl." Charlie's heart dropped. Who else was there to interrupt? What if this was a turning point, only to be marred by new distractions? He turned to Emma, ready to fight any battle that came her way, knowing that together, they could endure anything. But as the bake shop held its breath, Charlie realized this might not just be about words, it could be about standing firm against what others thought. Could Emma change the narrative with this moment, or would it slip through her fingers like flour? He couldn't wait to find out. Would Emma find the strength to unite this moment with the confidence she had built? Emma's heart raced as she turned to face the new voice. It belonged to Jason, a boy from school known for his sharp tongue and quick wit. He leaned against the wall, a smirk tugging at the corners of his mouth. The crowd turned slightly, the tension thick enough to slice through. "Little girl, you think you can make a sale just by talking? You can barely even see over the counter." He teased, his friends snickering behind him, but this time, something stirred deep within Emma. It was as if her fear transformed into fire, fueling her resolve. She took a deep breath, tuning out the laughter that threatened to drown her out. If she could stand in front of Mia, then she could definitely face Jason. "I may be small," she began, her voice steady despite the quivering uncertainty still hiding at the edges, "but that doesn't mean I don't have something to say." Charlie felt a rush of pride wash over him. He caught glimpses of approval from their group of friends, and the vibe among the adults shifted from amusement to curiosity. It was as if they were collectively leaning in, drawn to Emma's growing confidence. "That's right." One of the moms at the counter piped up, her voice warm like the smell of fresh cookies. "We all know how hard you girls worked on those treats." Emma smiled, encouraged. "These cookies represent our community. We want to raise money to help families in need. Everyone can have something good to eat, and it brings us all together, just like this bake sale." She gestured around, her eyes lighting up. "No kid is too little to make a difference," she added, her voice getting louder, and she could feel her friends rallying behind her. Just then, a hush fell over the bakery again. The older kids, once skeptical, were beginning to connect with Emma's words. Even Mia appeared caught off guard, her cockiness wavering a bit. Charlie could sense Mia's friends exchanging glances, trying to decipher if this was still just a joke. "You're saying you're doing this for the community?" Jason said, his tone transforming, tainted with curiosity rather than mocking. "Like, for real?" The bakery felt electric, the tension from earlier shifting to a sense of unity. Emma nodded, her cheeks flushed with enthusiasm. "Yes. It's not just about cookies. It's about hope, love, and helping each other." "I get that," Jason replied, seemingly more intrigued now. "But what if no one buys them? What then?" The question hung in the air, a heavy weight. Emma hesitated, fear flickering through her again. But Charlie, sensing her uncertainty, quickly stepped in. "It's more than just selling cookies. It's about bringing everyone together and sharing strength. It's about making sure no one feels alone." Charlie's words resonated throughout the bakery. He could see nods from people, an unspoken agreement forming. As hands tightened around cups and wrappers, Emma's friends chimed in, voices blending together as they reflected the same message. "Yeah. We believe in this. We can do this together." The laughter near the door began to fade. Even the adults leaned in closer, captivated by the energy as the tide turned in Emma's favor. "I know it's not easy," Emma said, swallowing hard. "But we want to try, and trying is the first step." She looked out over the crowd, gauging their reactions, hope blooming inside her. With a small laugh, Mia seemed to soften. "Fine, let us see what you've got then. Show us these incredible cookies." The energy in the bakery transformed again, now buzzing with anticipation and support rather than mockery. Emma's confidence radiated, brighter than before. "Thank you," she shouted back, her heart swelling even more, knowing she had captivated at least a few. And just like that, the plan began to unfold. Would they now take the next step, rallying everyone into action? Emma could barely contain her excitement as she realized this was only the beginning. As the crowd began to cheer, a little girl in the corner tugged at her mom's sleeve, eyes wide with admiration. "Can I help too?" Emma's heart fluttered. This could be it, could a simple bake sale draw in more than she ever dreamed? Suddenly, anticipation filled the air, thicker than flour. Yet, as they began to mobilize, there was still a shadow lurking. If Emma could rise here, could she face the even bigger challenges waiting ahead? All she could do was hope that this was just the beginning. The bakery buzzed with a new energy, the air thick with a mix of hope and excitement. Emma could hardly believe how quickly things had shifted. Just moments ago, she felt like an outsider, a little girl too small to make a difference. Now, she was the center of attention, the embodiment of courage for herself and her friends. "Okay, team," Emma declared, her voice ringing with determination. "Let us set up our station." Suddenly, the crowd wasn't just watching, they were moving. A few older kids helped pull tables closer while others retrieved that long-forgotten banner they had made together, baking for a cause. "The banner!" Charlie exclaimed, an ecstatic grin on his face as he rushed to help. Emma felt her heart thump rhythmically to the excitement around them. It was happening. People were coming together, and she was at the heart of it. One of the moms, inspired by Emma's words, pulled out a box of colorful plates. "Do you need these? They'll make the cookies look even nicer." She set them down, and the warmth from her support sent a chill of gratitude through Emma. As they worked, laughter and conversation flowed freely. Emma watched in amazement as her classmates, even the ones who never noticed her before, joined in the preparations. Jason, still leaning against the wall, surprisingly pushed a few cookies onto a plate, looking less like a bully and more like someone who was finally taking a chance on something bigger than themselves. Emma caught his eye. "Thanks, Jason." She smiled. The smirk faded into something genuine, and he nodded back, as if realizing he was part of something meaningful. Then the little girl who had tugged on her mother's sleeve approached Emma. "Can I really help?" she squeaked, her eyes sparkling. "Absolutely." Emma knelt down to face her. "What's your name?" "Lily." "Lily, what are you good at? Are you a great baker already? I can help decorate." Lily beamed, her small hands fluttering like a bird. "Perfect. Can you show me how to make our cookies even more special?" With newfound energy, Emma led the way to the table where the trays of cookies were piled high. They climbed and decorated, laughter spilling from their corner as sprinkles flew into the air like tiny confetti. As the crowd gathered around to watch, the energy around Emma transformed once more. Families began to approach the newly formed bake sale table, curious expressions on their faces. "What do you have here?" one of the dads asked, kneeling to Emily and Lily's level. Emma's heart raced as she began to explain, gesturing towards their colorful assortment of baked goods and the cause they were supporting. As people started to buy cookies, Emma felt an overwhelming wave of emotion wash over her. Each sale felt like a little victory, a step towards something bigger. Suddenly, Mia stepped forward, her friends in tow. "I'll buy a dozen," she announced, surprising everyone. The crowd went quiet. Emma couldn't tell if she saw regret or genuine admiration in Mia's eyes. Would Mia's change of heart be a turning point for their entire group? "Really?" Emma asked incredulously, the warmth in her chest expanding. Mia simply nodded, pulling out a $10 bill that looked massive in her small hands. Just then, a voice chimed from the back. "I'll match that." It was Jake, another kid from school who Emma had never spoken to before. The atmosphere shifted, the bonds forming as if through invisible threads. Emma stood still, absorbing the moment, overwhelming joy twisting in her stomach. It felt as though mountains were shifting beneath her feet. Then, without warning, a clattering sound broke the atmosphere. Someone had bumped into the table, spilling sprinkles everywhere. The laughter that followed, bright and contagious, echoed through the bakery. "Looks like we're creating a sprinkle masterpiece." Emma laughed, joining in the fun even amid the chaos. As the crowd kneaded into moments of joy and surprise, Emma realized that sometimes the best changes come from unexpected moments. Little did she know, however, that while this was her moment of triumph, a bigger challenge loomed ahead. Would she be able to keep this momentum going? Just then, she caught sight of her father at the door. His face, usually so serious, now reflected an undeniable pride. But among the gains, Emma's eyes flickered past the joyful faces in front of her, already bracing for what could come crashing down. Could they maintain this unity for the long haul? Emma was about to find out. The atmosphere buzzed, but a ripple of anxiety threaded through Emma's excitement. She looked at each smiling face around her, feeling a sense of belonging swell in her chest, but doubts lingered on the edges. What if this was just a fleeting spark? Would the laughter and warmth last beyond today? As more families flocked to the table, Emma pushed those worries aside. One by one, she watched the cookies disappear, replaced by laughter and shared stories. Little Lily, her sprinkles artfully scattered, beamed with pride every time someone praised her work. Watching her, Emma realized this project had already begun to create connections. "Look! My cookie has a heart!" Lily squealed, pointing to an oddly shaped treat adorned with icing and colorful sprinkles. "That's wonderful, Lily. It looks delicious." Emma encouraged, feeling the pure joy radiate from the little girl. They were not just selling cookies, they were sharing pieces of themselves. Word spread through the bakery, "Kids baking for charity. Support the little bakers." Emma's eyes sparkled, her voice hardly able to contain her excitement, but just then, she felt a disturbance in the joyful air. Mia had stepped away from the table, and the excitement around Emma dimmed as she caught sight of Mia's expression. Something about it felt heavy. "What's wrong, Mia?" Emma asked, approaching her cautiously. "Nothing," Mia said, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. "It's just I didn't think this would be so hard." She glanced back at her friends, who were still mingling with other kids, their laughs ringing out. The vulnerability in Mia's voice not only grounded Emma but also opened a floodgate of emotions. "You know," Emma began, carefully, "it's okay to feel scared. I didn't think I could do any of this either." Mia's eyes met Emma's, a flicker of understanding passing between them. "But look at everyone. They're having fun and I feel like my friends don't really want to be here." Emma thought about Jason, about the way he had surprised them all today. Sometimes, it's easier to follow a crowd than to stand alone. But today, we're not standing alone, right? "Everybody's here, together," she said, emphasizing the word together. Just then, a familiar voice interrupted their moment. "Hey, Emma." It was Jason, a plate piled with cookies in his hand. "How many do you think I can sell?" He looked genuinely earnest, slight uncertainty in his eyes. Emma smiled wide. "As many as you want. Let us sell them all." The laughter returned as Jason grinned and joined them. They all began chatting, discussing who they could sell to next. The group seemed to hug the bakery in an embrace of laughter and shared determination. Over at the bake station, Emma caught sight of her dad again, this time sharing a soft smile with her. It made warmth blossom inside her, fueling her resolve. Maybe, just maybe, this could be the beginning of more than just a bake sale. As the last cookies were sold, Emma's heart swelled with pride. They had not only baked their way into the hearts of the community but also stitched together a bond among friends that had seemed unlikely just moments before. Yet, amid the joyous chaos, a shadow grazed Emma's heart. While the day had turned into a celebration, the question loomed like a cloud: would the friendships built today withstand the judgment of the schoolyard once the bake sale ended? As the crowd thinned, and she began to help clean up, Emma's heart raced. Whatever lay ahead for her and her friends, she felt the weight of the challenge. "Mia, Jason, can I count on you guys tomorrow?" she asked, hoping for a commitment that was deeper than just today. "Always," Jason replied, smiling at Mia. "Definitely," Mia chirped, and as they packed the last of the sprinkles away, Emma couldn't help but feel that something new and beautiful had begun. Can friendships formed in a single day stand the test of time? Emma couldn't shake off the thought. But as she looked around, she felt a spark of hope ignite. What challenges awaited them next? Emma was ready to find out. The next day dawned bright and full of promise, but Emma's heart was a storm of nerves. She sat at the breakfast table, trying to eat the toast her mom had made while her mind wandered to the bake sale. Would people still show up? Would her friends stand by her? She bit her lip, staring out the window at a few birds flitting around the trees. What if today is a total flop? She thought, pushing her plate away. "Emma, honey?" Her mom's voice brought her back. "Are you okay?" "Yeah, just thinking," Emma replied, forcing a smile. "Thinking is good. Let us make today even better." Her mom encouraged. "You all did a fantastic job yesterday. Just remember, it's all about having fun." Emma nodded, but the weight of her worries pressed hard against her chest. She wanted this day to matter. Later, as she walked to the bakery, she spotted Jason and Mia waiting for her. Jason waved, his face alight with enthusiasm. "You ready to bake more cookies? I bet we can top yesterday's sales." Emma grinned, but a twinge of doubt danced behind her smile. "Yeah, let us do it." Once inside, the atmosphere was already buzzing with energy. Families milled about, and the sweet aroma of baked treats filled the air. Emma set to work with her friends, mixing ingredients and laughing. But a part of her remained on edge as she watched others. As the day wore on, the trio sat behind their table, cookies scattered about, decorated with swirls of icing and bright sprinkles. They called out to passers-by, but the initial excitement began to fade. Emma felt a tightness creeping back. Everything depended on their success today. Then, that very moment of doubt was interrupted. "Look at this one." Lily trotted over, holding up a cookie like it was a trophy. It was covered with a thick layer of icing and dots of colorful sprinkles. "It's for charity." The sparkle in Lily's eyes drew a few customers to the table. Emma felt the tension loosen a bit. Maybe their hard work was paying off after all. But as crowds converged and smiles spread, Emma caught a glimpse of a few kids from school on the other side. They pointed and whispered, eyes darting over toward her and her friends. Suddenly, laughter turned heavy and muffled. Her stomach twisted. What if they mocked her? What if the laughter and warmth from yesterday evaporated in the light of their judgment? "Mia, did you see them?" Emma whispered, pointing discreetly toward the kids. Mia's brow furrowed, her smile faltering. "Yeah, it's okay. Maybe they just want cookies too." But Emma's heart wasn't soothed. She felt the thrill of selling cookies being drowned by what-ifs. "Hey! Look what I made." It was Jason, holding up a cookie creation that resembled a wacky monster. Monster cookies for monster-sized love. Emma couldn't help but chuckle, but the weight remained. Then to her surprise, as more people heard Jason, they laughed along, gathering around the table. The atmosphere lightened, and the children started joining in, sharing their own cookie designs. "Let us make monster cookies the theme." Lily chimed in, beaming. And just like that, an idea sparked. Emma stood taller. "What if we start a cookie decorating contest?" Jason's eyes lit up. "Yeah. Everyone can join, and we can vote for the best one." Mia, now enthused, added, "with a prize, like a box of cookies." Emma felt exhilaration pulse through her. They were taking charge of the day. "Okay, but what do we do if someone doesn't win?" Laughing nervously, Jason replied, "We remind them how great they are for being a part of it." And the idea took off. With each decorated cookie, confidence flourished. Emma watched as children laughed, painted sprinkles on cookies, and filled the bake sale with joy. Everyone was together, pushing aside the fear that threatened to pull them apart. Amid the cheerful chaos, the shadows of doubt began to fade. Maybe just maybe today wasn't about proving something but simply being together and creating happiness. But as Emma glanced back at the kids from school, who were now watching but silent, a question tugged at her. Could they join in? Was there a way to bridge the gap that seemed to grow with every passing moment? "Let us get everyone to join the fun," Emma shouted, grabbing the attention of her friends. "Are you with me?" she called out, ready to take on whatever would come next. Emma's heart raced as she scanned the crowd. The energy around her was infectious, but the kids from school remained in her peripheral vision, lingering on the edges, hesitant. She took a breath, her resolve solidifying. If they wanted to be part of it, she'd make it happen. "Hey!" she called, her voice bright and welcoming. "Everyone is invited to join our cookie decorating contest. It'll be fun." The laughter around the table hushed as people turned to look at her, shocked silence filling the air. Emma sucked in a breath. Did she just invite them? The kids from school exchanged glances, uncertainty clouding their expressions. But then, one of them, Sarah, stepped forward, shy but curious. "What's the prize?" Emma's heart soared. "A giant cookie box for the winners. And, bragging rights." She grinned, crossing her fingers in hope. With a cautious nod, Sarah turned to her group. "We can try, right?" she said, trying to sound brave. "Sure," came the reply, and Emma felt a warmth spread through her. It was happening. As they approached, Emma made sure to keep her voice light. "You guys can help us create something wild. Jason's monster cookies are a hit." Jason held up his creation like a trophy again, genuinely proud. "And we have stickers for the winners, too." The ice cracked a little more. They began to join in, moving over to grab cookie dough and colored icing. For a moment, Emma stood back and watched. It was a beautiful blur of laughter and creativity. She could see the older kids teaching the younger ones how to swirl the icing just right, sharing tips and giggles. The initial tension dissolved, replaced by a shared joy that danced through the air like festive music. But amid the chaos, Emma's mind flickered back to her worries. What if it didn't last? What if they ended up laughing at someone's design? Uncertainty crept back in, almost snatching her realization of hope. "Mia, what if we keep it positive?" Emma asked, her voice wavering just a little. "Definitely," Mia replied, her voice steady. "It's a celebration. We'll celebrate each creation, no matter what." Feeling buoyed, Emma took a deep breath, embracing the energy. The laughter grew, and soon, everyone, friends and former adversaries alike, found themselves congregating in camaraderie. As cookie designs took shape, Emma felt glimmers of happiness merging with her anxiety. Then, without warning, a small voice piped up. "I think mine is the best. Right, guys?" It was Tyler, one of the boys from school, who had been wary at the start but now beamed with pride over his creation, a cookie decorated like a superhero. The others laughed and agreed, "Yeah, that's pretty awesome." Seeing the ease with which they complimented each other settled something deep in Emma's heart. Maybe they could be friends now. "Let's line them up for judging," Emma shouted, excitement bubbling in her voice. They arranged all the decorated cookies on tables, marveling at each other's work. When the time arrived to vote for their favorites, laughter erupted. Everyone, from the shyest child to the loudest, contributed their excitement. Emma's heart raced in anticipation, and then, as they counted the votes, she glanced over to where Sarah stood, her eyes glistening with happiness. Was it possible they made a new beginning today? Emma raised her voice. "The winner is a tie." She beamed at both winners, embracing the joy of sharing rather than competing. But then, just as cheers erupted, Emma caught the sound of familiar whispers again. The kids from yesterday, the same ones who had laughed and pointed, were among the crowd, their faces unreadable. Would they applaud too, or had the moment passed? Tension knotted Emma's stomach. She had thought they were in the clear. What would happen next? And as their laughter mingled in the air, the question left a lingering sense of uncertainty. Emma swore she could feel the air change. Would they break the cycle of doubt with her, or would it all unravel again? The contest, the fun, the connection, it all suddenly felt precarious. Emma stood at the edge of a cliff, unsure of the outcome. How could she pull this together, right at this moment of hope? As the cheers faded and the crowd buzzed with anticipation, Emma stepped forward, her heart racing. She could feel the weight of expectation in the air, a subtle tension threading through the laughter and chatter. This was it. This was the moment that would define everything she and her friends had worked for. Would those lingering doubts disappear, or would they creep back in, threatening to tear down what they had built together? Taking a deep breath, Emma raised her voice above the noise. "Thank you all for joining us. Today, we've made these cookies not just for fun, but to help our community. Every single bite is a piece of love we want to share." The crowd quieted, eyes drawn to her continued passion. She glanced at Jason and Mia, who stood by her side, bolstered by their presence. Each peer in the assembly could sense the weight of unity forming. Even the murmurs from the former scoffers softened. Could they truly be changing? "And it's not just about winning," Emma continued, looking directly at Sarah and her friends courageously stepping forward to join the festivities. "It's about sharing joy and making memories together." Those words landed like a soft but mighty wave, momentarily disrupting the collective unease. Head nods and smiles swept through the crowd, sparking a tapestry of connection that both surprised and delighted Emma. "Yeah. Let us remember how we helped each other." Lily piped up, her positivity infectious. The previous uncertainty cracked, and laughter erupted again, this time more genuine. Emma noticed the kids who had laughed before starting to nod along, the expressions on their faces transforming into smiles rather than jeers. It was a turning point, one she never expected. In that moment, Mia stepped forward too, her voice clear and steady. "It's true. Let us celebrate every cookie. Everyone here put love into these, and that's what counts." Cheers erupted from all corners, merging together into a beautiful symphony of laughter and encouragement. Tension dissolved as handshakes and high-fives blossomed among the children. Even Jason grabbed two friends nearby, drawing them into the fun as they each showcased their wacky creations, proudly slicing through egos that had once stood tall. Emma's face lit up with joy. Could they maintain this sense of camaraderie? Would it last? She watched as her peers rallied together, children who moments before remained hesitant, now sharing sprinkles, ideas, and embracing where they once stood apart, and just like that, the bake sale transformed into something beyond cookies. It became a celebration of togetherness, a reminder that everyone, no matter their past, could contribute a slice of happiness. As the last crumbs of cookies were traded and shared, Emma caught her father's eye once more. There was a pride in his gaze that felt warm, wrapping around her like a comforting embrace. In his eyes, she saw acceptance, a promise fulfilled. She looked out at her friends around the table, the spark of change ignited within them. Their laughter blended with the crowd like a river flowing freely, and just like that, everything changed. Emma stepped back, taking in the moment. Her heart swelled with triumph, gratitude flooding through her soul. In facing her fears, she had discovered a powerful truth. It was no longer about proving her voice mattered, but about celebrating the connections that formed when people stepped beyond their comfort zones. "Together, we can make a difference," she whispered, more to herself than anyone else, the words blooming within her, lighting the path ahead. And from that day forth, something beautiful rose from the chaos. A community united, a daughter's voice echoed. As families departed, cookies in hand, Emma chose to envision a future where the laughter didn't just echo on this day but flourished continuously in her little suburban neighborhood. As they gathered the last remnants of supplies, Emma turned and smiled at her friends. "So, more baking tomorrow?" "Yes." They replied back in enthusiastic unison, and as she walked home that evening, hand in hand with her father, Emma felt lighter than air. She had not just found her voice, but a family woven together, transcending the silence that once wrapped around her. Her heart raced with anticipation for what tomorrow might bring. Now, the time has come for you to take action. You need to subscribe now to our channel to not miss next exclusive stories that will inspire you. This is the moment to show your support for uplifting content that matters. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, because your support is crucial for spreading positivity. Don't wait not even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Your excitement helps us grow and create more magic. Join us now. Your voice matters.